9 minutes left in the slot.
Yep. The publication of the draft withdrawal agreement last Wednesday marked an important milestone in the Brexit process. The 585-page document represents the potential for a deal, but we are not there yet. It must be ratified at EU level and also in Westminster, a part of the process that no one is taking for granted. There is no such thing as a good Brexit, but this deal is positive for Ireland if it is settled. It contains the necessary precautions to avoid a hard border on the island of Ireland, respects the status of the Good Friday Agreement, and works to address the continuance of North-South cooperation. I want to acknowledge the good work done by our own team, Youth Oireachtas, Minister McEntee, our diplomats and our civil servants in getting us to where we are today. We have a draft withdrawal treaty text on the table, and it has taken us 2 years to get here. I want to also acknowledge the hard work done by Michel Barnier and his team, who, negotiating on behalf of the 27 bloc, ensured that the Irish issues were to the fore and that our concerns, particularly around the border, were addressed. We know that at times pressure was applied from other quarters to try and shift focus away from the border issue, but Barnier and his team have never wavered on that issue, and there was no clink in the armour to be exploited. I believe that this is the best and fairest deal that could have been negotiated, and there is no room to reopen or to revisit what has already been agreed by both teams. The EU gave a considerable concession with regards to the Northern Ireland Protocol, the backstop, by agreeing to a UK-wide customs territory. This idea, when it was first mooted, was rejected by the EU and has caused concern among some Member States who want to ensure that the UK does not have a competitive advantage post-Brexit and that we are all operating on a level playing field. Nonetheless, this compromise was offered by the EU, and I think it demonstrates the genuine and sincere wish of the EU to forge a new relationship with the UK and to secure a Brexit deal that works for everyone. One of the most important aspects of the Northern Ireland Protocol is the commitment in black and white to the Good Friday Agreement. The very first line of Article 1 in the Protocol reads, "This Protocol is without prejudice to the provisions of the 1998 Agreement regarding the constitutional status of Northern Ireland and the principle of consent, which provides that any change in that status can only be made with the consent of the majority of its people." This couldn't be clearer, and the withdrawal treaty is not a backdoor grab for territory, and nothing within the agreement seeks to undermine the Good Friday Agreement or to in any way alter the constitutional position of the United Kingdom. This is a really important message to impress upon the Unionist community in Northern Ireland, who are an important part of this all-island community. Under the terms of the deal, should the Northern Ireland Protocol, the backstop, ever kick into action, Northern Ireland will retain the economic benefits of EU membership, whilst also retaining unfettered access to the UK market. This is a good outcome for Northern Ireland and is broadly in line with my party's call that Northern Ireland should be treated as a special economic zone. There is also sensible provision made for the potential extension of the transition period post-2020. Article 3 recognises the monumental task which lies ahead beyond ratification of the withdrawal treaty, and that is the negotiation of a future trading agreement between the EU and the United Kingdom. When you consider it took 9 years to negotiate and ratify the deal between the EU and Canada, it is very ambitious to expect that a deal can be concluded between the UK and the EU in just 20 months. So this article is certainly welcome. I want to briefly recognise and reference Article 18. And it states, if the application of this protocol leads to serious economic, societal or environmental difficulties liable to persist, or to diversions of trade, the Union or the United Kingdom may unilaterally take appropriate measures. I acknowledge, Taoiseach, the assurances that you have given me in respect of this article, but I think it's important to flag it and put it on the record, and to say that this treaty has to withstand the inevitable changes in personnel across governments over time, and we need to ensure this provision is never abused. An EU summit has been set for the 25th of November, but the resignations in the UK government and the lack of support across the Labour Party, the DUP and within the Conservative Party do underscore the very difficult task ahead of the British Prime Minister. At this point, the outcome is uncertain, but it is essential that calm prevails and that every effort is made to advocate for this deal and to try and get this deal across the line. And certainly my party will do everything it can to advocate that this deal be ratified.